Okay, speaking up. So one of the biggest, most common things that people struggle with, not just women, people, is speaking up. Speaking up and speaking up your truth, and especially in a work environment, but not just at work, even in other places. So in this video, I'll talk about how you can overcome that problem if you feel you struggle to speak up and to do so in an authentic way. I'm Pooja L Dhiman. A very warm welcome to my channel. I'm a life coach, spiritual teacher, leadership coach, and a former lawyer. So all of the things I'm talking about, I have lived. I've made every mistake, and this comes from experience, but also from working with thousands of leaders in corporate and helping them find their power. So when it comes to speaking up, okay, so what happens when people try to speak up? They get really scared, okay? They get really, really scared. And this was me, actually. So when I started working in corporate as a lawyer, I was fine to speak up in other environments. In fact, it was really natural for me. I was always somebody who didn't mind saying what I thought, and I still do. But when I got into the workplace, it was really alien for me. I didn't feel like I was around my tribe. I worked in the city, in law, and sometimes I would say things and they would be taken the wrong way. So I struggled with really being myself. I was surrounded by people who were lovely people, but just from a different background to me. Different sense of humour, different culture, and often grown up in a different part of the country as well. So on so many levels, and even a different class, actually. So on so many levels, I couldn't find that common connection point. And when I then would try and assert my authority or speak confidently, it would get taken the wrong way because I didn't know quite how to say things. Because what worked in my personal life and around my family didn't seem to work or translate into the workplace. And so I had to learn how to do that and navigate how to do that, but do so in a way that felt really authentic as well. Yeah. So I started off getting it all wrong. I started off with sometimes saying things, them not landing very well, sometimes rubbing people up the wrong way because I was being way too harsh and way too direct, which actually wasn't how I normally am. Sometimes trying to be like the guys, right? Sometimes trying to be very masculine because that's what I assumed leadership was. Speaking up was, you have to be very aggressive, you have to shout people down to get your point across. And none of those things landed. And it was only when I actually really truly connected to myself, to my authentic voice, and to who I truly am as a human, and then found the confidence internally to do so, that I figured out what it takes to speak up, and speak up in a way that is really authentic to me. And when I started to do that, the weirdest thing happened. People started to see me as a leader and started to listen. And in fact, people started to really want to ask me my opinion, hear what I wanted to say. And I started to get promoted as well to leadership positions because people just saw me as a leader. They saw me speaking up confidently and expressing my view, but expressing my view in a way that was authentic and diplomatic and kind, but from a place of real consciousness. Okay? So how can you do this? So first of all, if you're not speaking up, the common things that tend to hold people back, okay? Common things that hold people back, and this is what would hold me back. A fear, not wanting to look silly, yeah? A fear of saying the wrong thing. A fear of what will the repercussions be for me? So I have an idea, and I want to say it, but I'm scared about the repercussions for me if this idea doesn't land. Or I'm scared if I present this idea, I'm going to be given the responsibility of having to see it through. Or, I don't know if I fully believe in this. I want to say something, but I'm not fully sure if what I'm saying is truly I fully believe it. Okay? So what I learned was none of that stuff is actually real. Yeah? It feels real. The mind is saying that to you, but that's all it is. The mind is just saying it to you. It's actually not real. So if you think about it, the mind can say to you, stay quiet, don't say anything. Danger. The mind can say that. The mind can also say, you know what, go for it. So it's like there's a little devil and there's a little angel. How do we know which one of those is true? We don't. It's only the one that we listen to that's the one that's true. Okay? So whatever those little voices are, you've got to kind of quieten them. You've got to encourage those voices to not influence your actions and direction. Instead, to give yourself a really positive, affirming voice that says, you know what, it's okay. Speak up, speak your truth. Okay? So I really learned that, first of all, those voices that were telling me to stay quiet, they didn't matter. Right? I had to quieten them down. I had to really support myself in my own head first if I was going to speak up. The second thing I learned takes a bit of courage. It just does. It takes a bit of courage to speak up. Okay? You will say things sometimes and get it wrong. You're not going to die. Yeah? Sometimes you'll make a mistake. Sometimes I say things, and I did say things that made me look a bit silly. But as long as my intention was okay, as long as I had a really good intention, like I was trying to solve a problem, I was sharing what I thought, I had to let go of what other people thought. And it came with practice. So the first time I spoke up, I remember it being really uncomfortable. I remember feeling like even my heart was racing and it was really difficult for me to do. But then the more I did it, the more I got more confident, the more I did it naturally. The more I became the first person to speak in a meeting. The more I became somebody who actually people would wait for. What do you think? Or she hasn't said anything. You know, normally she's always the one speaking. She hasn't said anything. What does she think? And when I would speak, everyone would start listening. So I came from a place from where no one would listen, or when I did say something, people didn't agree with me, to a place where people started to wait to listen to what I wanted to say. So the first thing, as I said, it's about not listening to that voice in your head that's actually just telling you it's just rubbish. You've got to quieten that voice. Having a bit of courage, right? Speaking up and practicing speaking up in a way that works for you, but finding your authentic voice. Yeah? So I share this when I talk about authenticity. What does your voice actually sound like? Yeah. So let's say someone's saying something and you don't agree with it. You can say that you don't agree in a very diplomatic way, yeah, but in a way that's authentic to you. So start thinking about that. If someone says something in a meeting and you don't agree, it's important to be really kind to that person in your disagreement, but being really authentic to yourself. So some of the things you could try, what comes authentically to me is often, I'm not sure I agree with that. And here's why, right? Or how about another way of doing this? Could we try this? Sometimes if someone's saying something really silly, I might just want to say I don't agree. Yeah? But it's really about tuning into your authenticity, speaking your truth, having the confidence to do so, and really backing yourself when you say something. Right? Really backing yourself when you say something. It is going to be scary. Pretty much if you struggle with speaking up, just like I did, it will be scary every single time. But it gets a lot easier. So if you think about it, it's this scary at the moment. The more you do it, the more you do it, the more you do it, that scariness will go down. The scariness may never go away. So you might end up with like this much scariness or this much scariness. It will never completely go away, but it will lessen over time to the point where you won't think about it and you will just speak because it will become a habit. So this is all about rewiring the brain to stop doing things that the brain tells us are scary and instead start to do things that are slightly outside the comfort zone. So just think about it. Think about next time you need to go to a meeting, next time you need to speak up, next time you need to assert for yourself, and start preparing. How can I do it? What do I want to say? Yeah? What do I want to say? Take a breath, tune into yourself, speak your truth. Some other things you can do related to yoga, opening up the throat chakra, opening up the throat. Very, very powerful thing to do. And if you're familiar with the Ujjayi breathing, the Ujjayi breath, very, very good to do before you need to speak up. If you don't know the Ujjayi breath, that's okay. You can just work with the equal ratio breath. 4, 4, 4, 4. Inhale, 4. Hold for 4. Exhale for 4. Inhale for 4. So it's a 4. If you're not familiar with it, I can do a separate video on that breath. That breath really balances the throat. Balances the throat chakra, takes our focus internally. Why do you need to take your focus internally to speak up? Because your power is within. Yeah? Your power is not, your confidence is not going to come from outside of you, it's going to come from within. The more connected you become to yourself, the more you will connect to that internal power. Okay? So there are a few things to try. Be confident, be courageous, go for it, but also be kind. Yeah? Be kind. Be kind, be diplomatic, and people will actually listen to you when you are kind, because they will know your intentions are positive. You're coming from a place of service. You're not coming from a place of ego. You're coming from a place where you really just want to help and serve and share, but do so authentically. Yeah? Not about being a nice girl or guy. It's about being kind, being firm, diplomatic, but also being yourself. So hopefully that's helped. If you'd like more videos on the topic of leadership and how to approach leadership, please let me know in the comments. If you're looking for coaching, so if you are a corporate minority woman and you want to up-level, you want to learn how to step into your leadership, I'd love to work with you. Reach out to me. There are links in the comments. You can email me if you want to work with me. And I think the biggest thing is everything you need is inside of you. I promise you, everything you need is inside of you. You don't need to go externally. Once you connect within, and all of the solutions to leadership problems are actually built within energy, within yoga, within our philosophy. Once you connect to those, you become like, if you're familiar with the Mahabharata, you become like Arjun. You become that really strong warrior, yeah, guided by Krishna, the soul. Okay, I hope you've enjoyed this. Go forth and speak your truth. Maybe start in the comments. What did you pick up? What did you learn? What did you like? What are you going to go and do and say in your next meeting or wherever you do need to speak up? And what tip was most useful? Lovely to have you spend some time with me, and I will see you in the next video. Do like, subscribe, comment and share. Bye.